Adams. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and this is week 5 of my illness. My voice is still messed up, but I wanted to share these quick, easy tags. This one's my Christmas, but I thought you might be having a New Year's Eve party, and so I thought these little tags might be nice for a gift that you might be giving out, or even tying them to your glasses. This is going to be one of those projects where I use regular stamping as well as my computer. I'm also going to show you how to use the RGB codes, and I'm also going to go over how to use the Stampin' Up. Let's get started. I'm using a word processing program here. I am using Word, and I want to insert a table. I want my columns to be 2 inches wide. So I'm going to, since I have 7.5 inches available, I can only fit 3 in. And it doesn't really matter as far as the height right now or how many rows, because you can always add more. I'm going to select my whole table, and I'm going to right click on Table Properties. I need to set my row height at 1.25, which is 1 1/4 inches exactly. I want to set my column width at 2 inches exactly. And I want to also go to the table options. I do not want to resize, so I need to make sure that's clear. And I actually don't want to have any margins. And I want to center on my click cell and center my words in the middle of the row. I went ahead and typed the names of my guests, and I made sure that it was centered side to side, and I had already set it, centering it up and down. And I want to change the font to be sort of close to what the font is on the stamp. So I'm using Adobe Gothic Standard B, I guess is what this is called. It's not exactly. And I do want to change the font to be all uppercase. And I want it a little bit bigger than that. I want it to be most of the oval, but I don't want to go larger than the size of my punch. So in this case I'm using about size 18. And then I want to change the color. I'm going to select the color, More Colors, Custom Colors, and then in the color model I've got RGB. Mossy Meadow is 109, 108 for green, and blue is 46. Now this will not be exactly, but it should be pretty close. And then I'm going to go ahead and run this through my printer. And this is how it's coming out of my printer. From here I want to use And Many More and Mossy Meadow. I'm using Cheers, and I'm going to use the Stampin' Up. To use the Stampin' Up, I need to put the imaging sheet right in the corner, and I'm left-handed. This is the way it's convenient for me to stamp, but the nice thing about the Stampin' Up is you can turn it any which way that's comfortable for you. So I'm going to use my Cheers stamp, and I'm going to put that stamp right in that corner and slide it down, straight down and straight up. And that's where my image is. Now I can put my image directly over each word and center it exactly where I want it to be. Put the tool, the Stamp-A-Majig, there, and then stamp just like I did before. Put it in the corner, go straight down and straight up, and I have Cheers. And I can do that for each guest. And it's not an exact match. I have found that the Mossy Meadow does seem to lighten up a bit as it dries, so it may end up pretty close to the same color. Now I just need to punch these out. I did want to warn you that when you're choosing your colors and you're printing on colored cardstock, our colored cardstock depends on your printer, whether it'll go through your printer or not. I found that most of our cardstock goes through my printer. However, some of them just feel a little stiffer, and so they don't go through as easily, but the Hello Honey went through nicely. For my card base, I wanted to use Designer Series paper, but I did want it thicker, and I wanted it the same on both sides. So I'm just going to use multi-purpose liquid glue. Now, I almost always use this tip. You might not even know that this tip is actually designed for covering large areas. So I have scored my 5.5 inches at 2 3/4, so it folds in half. And I'm going to use my multi-purpose liquid glue to cover this whole surface. And so I'm using this broad area to kind of spread it around. And I want to cover as much. You could also use our glue sticks, which are wonderful for the same thing. Our glue sticks don't clump up like you think of regular school glue sticks. Either one will give full coverage, and so I'm just going to close that up. I'm going to use a bone folder to really kind of smear that in and make sure I've got good coverage. So I'm going to use my note tag punch to punch out my card bases. Then I'm going to use my 1/8 inch hole punch to punch this end. Then use the scallop oval punch to punch the red glimmer paper. I've got about 8 or 9 inches of the 1/4 inch red cotton ribbon and the 1/8 inch silver ribbon, and I'm going to put them through. I think I'm going to go ahead and poke the silver through first. And then poke the red through between those. And you want to even these up. Reach through the loop, pull those ends through. You want to have them pretty tight. I'm using the Fast Fuse for my adhesive. I'm pressing that right there on my tag. A couple of dimensionals. And put the name on top of that. And there's your tags. So if you have a party coming up, you can use any designer series paper and stamps that you may have. Or if you're planning a party coming up and you would like to order, come on over to bevadams.com. I'll have the directions for this and also more information. Talk to you soon. Bye.